Hey, hello everybody, it's me. I'm back. Yeah, it's like about almost 2 a.m. where I am. Yeah, so yeah, it's been a while. I've been real busy and everything, but I'll probably make this video short and sweet and everything, but we'll see. But the reason why I'm doing this video is to review the latest issue of Smallville. Look, it's got like a little. This is the final chapter of, final issue, final wrapping up the chapter of a story arc, Guardian. No, not Guardian, Detective. Guardian was the last one, but yeah, Detective. It's where, basically, in this one, it comes to a head. I think it comes to a head. Yeah, let's just put it like that. It comes to a head for, like, everyone involved. There are little stories in the main story involving Batman and Superman and Bruce Wayne. Basically, takes place after it takes place right after the events, but starting with, basically, we have Lex and Tess talking, because apparently Tess is in Lex's subconscious mind, and they're talking, and he's trying to find out what she knows about Superman. Because apparently she basically has memories of him. Basically, she has memories of him. That she took away from Lex when we rubbed the toxin and he killed her. So yeah. And they talk and about old times, about family and Tessa's love life and all that stuff. And yeah, impressing on. Here we're at the Leviathan, which is Batman and Nightwing's hideout. Here, like Superman, aka Clark, is kind of resting up. Lois is at his side. Lucky him. His woman's by his side. And here, they ponder the next move. And here, Barbara Gordon, she comes around with some orange juice and everything. Hey, let's you gotta save up, and everything. Here now, like Clark goes down to Bruce's lab. He's like preparing. He also makes a few references. He's like, here's like here. Clark says Barbara is worried about your vitamin C intake. He's like, she's worse than my butler. So yeah, there's a little thing there. And here, basically, they talk about battle, like to kind of speed this along. I'm kind of tired right now, but I thought I'd get this review in there and everything. So kind of bear with me, but. So I might kind of go, but basically, they talk about the next plan, with Loomis and Freeze, what they're gonna do and everything, and trying to find them and track. And here they come prepared, with Clark with with lead shielding, so he wouldn't be harmed by kryptonite, and Batman is thermal armor, so he can take on Victor Freeze. And here what happens. And then they go in a little. Hang on, I'm getting a little too ahead. They go a little bat thing here. Meanwhile, Oliver is being interrogated because he's helping for aiding and abetting Batman. He fails, and then Chloe comes along and takes her sets him free because apparently she has all this power and everything. Because I'm his wife. She's like, I'm his wife. Let him through because she's like pretty much his lawyer at this point. And here. There's a surprise attack coming, for Barbara and Lois. They're inside Leviathan. Apparently, like Loomis and Freeze sent some of their goons to take them out. Meanwhile, right here, they had a little arrangement. Basically, kind of like if you remember, like say, like if y'all ever watched the Batman animated series way back in the day. Victor Freeze, like he had a wife he was caring for, was sick. It was also in that Batman Robin movie, but we don't really need to go there. We all know how we feel about that. But yeah, anyway, basically he made a deal with Loomis so he could find a cure for his wife Nora and everything, going back to the whole thing. But then Loomis double crosses him to the point where basically he's now under his control. His suit is now under his control. He basically he's going to prank the city and wants to be pranked. He's the show of the prankster. And here he goes as far as, this place called Nails Air Force Base, and now he has like little toys here that they bought. He like accessed the little the little planes, missiles, and now we'll get more into that. Now here if you look at their armor, interesting looking armor that Batman and Superman have, and they find, Loomis and Freeze's little hideout here, and now here Loomis is in like a giant battle suit, kind of like kind of like what Lex would have. You know, if you all know, Lex would have a battle suit. You know, I think I'm really hoping like in this issue we actually see Lex in a battle suit. But here, like Soups decides he's gonna take on Loomis in his little battle suit. While basically, basically Batman goes on there. And here, meanwhile, like, you know, Lois and Barbara are being invaded. They have a little fight of their own, and then Freeze goes on a frenzy. And here, like, Oliver, like, gets a little boxing glove hero, like, so that basically gets a little cliche there. Freeze is attacking, and see Barbara and Lois are trying to fend off the people attacking Leviathan and all that. And then here, basically now, and then going back to the fight between, you know, Superman and Loomis and Prankster, what happens is, like, Prankster eventually rips off Superman's little special armor. He gets exposed to kryptonite, but he actually finds a little something. Loomis wait, and he decides to rip his suit as well. You know, actually cut off power to his suit. Basically take the kryptonite out of the equation, and basically he, like, you know, was you know, basically fly up to the surface. You know, was working for Nick Dane, worth it, Loomis, and he's like, I never liked working for him. Basically, that's why you. So basically it was all, you know, it was a plan. You know, he's a prankster. He wanted to, like, you know, outdo Winslow Shot. You know, aka Toyman. That's where he got his technology from. And in here, like, you know, with the going back to the missile planes that were hacked, he used those planes to pretty much attack Leviathan and everything. You know, and then there's the missiles coming. They attacking the boat. You know, with everyone on board now. Batman comes along. He takes Freeze out. You know, takes out his little thing here, his little cell, and then, you know, apparently, you know, he takes them out, and then Superman flies over, and here they get this. He saves the ship, you know, as they were going down. So that, you know, saves Barbara and Lois like he always does, you know, and then Batman and Superman are pretty much amazed. And later on, you know, like, Superman visits. Actually, we see Superman in Gotham, and he visits Bruce, you know, the site where his parents died, you know. And as we know, you know, Joe Chill was killed by Mr. Freeze. You know, Freeze killed Joe, and you know, Bruce never got a chance. You know, they're pondering. You know, he says, telling him, you walk a line, you don't, but you don't cross it. You tried to save him, Bruce. You know, my parents didn't deserve what he did to them, and neither did I. You know, like, me and Bruce still talking. You know. How about parents and legacies, and also talk about fathers, you know, and, like, you know, my father was a giant, and saying that Bruce says my father was a giant. They always are. I mean, this is what I like, you know, this whole issue of fathers and sons in Smallville. You know, how basically Clark, you know, had his fathers, you know, Jonathan, Jor-El, and everything, and, you know, Lex had Lionel, and the fact that fathers have on their sons. You know, I really like why they touched on that. I mean, to me, it's very powerful and really beautiful. I really love that. You know, it really kind of shows. I really like how they really kind of more or less continue with the Smallville-esque essence, like in the comics, even though the show's over. But and also, as you know, I'm sure you know, both, like, Superman and Bruce Wayne's, like, parental mother, their mothers have the same name. You know, going back to moms. You know how basically they're talking about their mothers touch a little bit about their mothers. You know, Bruce saying, like, you know, his mom always wore pearls. You know, her mom's, like, you know, like, Clark, you know, still sees his mom every once in a while when he can, since she's still around, you know. Well, to that. And then moving on, like, we find out, like with Freeze, like, when Batman's actually cut off, you know, his supply power for Freeze, you know, his power cell. And he decides, you know, Superman decides, you know, he's gonna spread it all around, you know, make it snow. And then here, Chloe and Oliver are having a little moment, and he drops some news on her that, you know, hey, she's pregnant. You know, hey, and and then it kind of goes from there. And then last part here, we go back to Lex, you know, like, you know, and everything. Lex and Tess actually decides. Lex decides, you know, first he thought, you know, having Tess was a curse, but he decides he has a plan. He has a plan to find out everything that he knows about Superman. And, like, before then, you know, he actually is admiring test because if the roles were reversed, Lex would have done the same thing. What's the thing with Luthers and families, you know, and father figures, what the effects. I mean, regardless what y'all think, you know, the effect is there, you know, regardless, you know, whether you know, the effect. I mean, fathers have an effect on their kids. I mean, parents. I'm gonna say parents. They do have an effect on their kids, which is one thing that Smallville really shows. It's true. I mean, come on. I mean, what's the point of having parents? I mean, you are made, in a sense, we're all made in our parents' image, more or less. You know, and we all there's a reflection there. It's there. Okay, it's there. Okay. I mean, regardless what some people think, you know, it's there. You know, I believe in that. Okay, that's just me. That's just me. Okay. Moving on. But yeah, good issue, very very great, very solid, very nice way to tie it in. I really liked it, liked how it's done. So yeah, yeah, that's in the artwork. I mean, the artwork's kind of a little different now. It's not quite like what it was with the like how some of the actors on the show, but you know, it's kind of. But I mean, I guess I'm not. Guess I shouldn't be too surprised. It's kind of progressed, you know, even though it's a comic book now. You know, the show's over and other things are going on. And I understand there is Arrow, which I haven't had a chance to watch like too much of. Maybe I'll catch up on that eventually when I can. But yeah, that's it. And I'll try and do some more videos. Like I've been really busy, like I said, and everything. So, but yeah, whoever's watching, you'll just have to bear with me. You know, just bear with me what I do and what I got coming. And you know, I'm done with school for the semester, so I have more time. So so yeah, I'll leave it there, and I'll be sure to watch out for some videos. That'll come. That'll, you know, I'll be back. Okay, just be on the lookout. I'll be back, and I'll see you soon.